Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Business Bootcamp Podcast. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the number one thing I would do if I was in your shoes and running your business when it comes to marketing. In 2019, what I'm going to be talking about today is what I encourage every single one of you on this show that has not done it yet. If you have not done this thing yet, I encourage you, I beg you, I implore you to do this one thing. It'll change your business, it'll change your brand, and it will revolutionize the way you market your services and your products. Before we get into today's show, a big thank you to Gusto. Gusto.com/bootcamp. That's the URL. That's the URL you all have been using, and many of you have been thanking me for that first 3 months free. So go on to gusto.com, that's gusto.com/bootcamp, and they're giving only us as users and listeners of the podcast this 90-day free trial. You can get 30 days on their website, but you can get 90 days by using that URL. And what Gusto has done for many of your payroll services, your employee benefit services, the things that you're doing for your employees, and the customer service that they have when things go awry is absolutely phenomenal. So check it out. Go to gusto.com/bootcamp. Now, today I'm going to be talking about something that I have done for the past 5 years and that we are making even more local this year, 2019. And so, really in 2 words, I could sum up the entire tip or the entire episode today by saying exactly what I have in my mind, and that is 2 words: create content. So and before you turn this episode off and think you know what I'm going to say for the next 10-15 minutes, please let me explain. All right? Creating content is not just about content marketing. Let me give you some ideas and things that we're doing that might make this a little more relevant to you. You might be saying, well, content marketing works for online businesses and podcasts and for people that are wanting to build a business online. And that's true. All right. But I encourage you to know this one thing, and that is that it also works for small businesses. It works for businesses that are working locally. Just because your customers aren't around the entire world or around the entire country or online does not mean that you should not be creating content. So let me explain. This is for business owners. This is for people without businesses that have goals, aspirations, dreams of being an entrepreneur. This is what I would say to you. And the reason I thought about this is really because an individual that I'm close to that does not like their job, isn't seeing the benefits of the business that they're building right now. And the business that they're in right now is not necessarily their passion. They have a lot of other passions that they're super talented at, super gifted at, would love to do on a full-time basis. And so if you are not in the place where you are in an industry or working a job that you enjoy or that you're passionate about, this is also the same advice I would give to you. Create content. So what does it mean? What do I mean by that? So content, number one, can come in several different forms. Blogs, so that's like written word, podcasting, video, and a lot of times when we hear those things, we can kind of put them in silos and boxes. What you have to do is get creative about how you take the text, the audio, the video, and how you make it your own. All right. So I'm going to talk about from a content perspective of what I've done with Business Bootcamp Podcast, with Landscape Business Course, with Barbells in Business, and then I'm going to take it down to the small business owner level, more localized, and talk about what we're doing using content to market my landscaping company and what that is all about. All right. So number one thing that I want to talk about is how I've used content marketing the past 5 years. So it's been 5.5 years that we've had Business Bootcamp Podcast. That's the podcast you're listening to right now. I started about 5.5 years ago. It's been a crazy ride. Now it has sponsors. We are starting a video studio that should be in the next few weeks. You should actually be able to watch these episodes instead of just listening on the podcast. You'll actually be able to watch them in the studio. So that will be cool. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm also looking back and thinking back to when I started creating content. Why? It was just because I wanted to share my story. I wanted to document what was happening since I had just dropped out of going to medical school, was going to start my MBA, and then started my landscaping service. I was like, you know what, I'm going to document this, and it'll be cool. Maybe some people will learn from it. So I started creating content, started taking questions from businessbootcamppodcast.com, started to grow it, blah, blah, blah. Down the road, now we have sponsors. It's profitable. It's a revenue stream, and it's something that I love to do. All right. Then there's landscapebusinesscourse.com. It is where I can teach landscapers how to start and grow their business. And really, it's an online course. So I've monetized that one by creating my own products. So for Business Bootcamp Podcast, I created content for years before advertisers came along and wanted to give me money to be an advertiser, basically, and sponsor the show. That took a couple years to even happen. It was out of the blue, didn't expect it, but then it happened. Super cool. For Landscape Business Course, I don't have sponsors, don't have any advertisers, but I have my products that I sell. So I sell informational products, books. I sell consulting. I sell membership groups. I sell Landscape Business Course, which is the actual course itself, at landscapebusinesscourse.com. And so I sell those things and have made money from that. And now we've recently started a podcast called Barbells in Business. Super, we have not put much time and effort into it, but now I actually have a reason to build the content. And I think a lot of times for us to build content as entrepreneurs, we need to have a reason or a purpose or something that we're pushing people towards, whether it be our business or a product or something we believe in. It's something that we want to take an audience, take the listeners, and move them to a destination. So we've started Barbells in Business several months ago. Have not put a lot of time and effort into it. Barbells in Business is a podcast that talks about how to improve your gym. And so when I bought Anytime Fitness, the gym that I bought last year, I wanted to do the same thing that I've done for landscapers in terms of giving them tips and advice on how to grow their business and make it more efficient, hire people, make more revenue, sell more memberships, have better training revenues, etc. So started to do that, haven't really focused on it a lot, but now you're going to start focusing on it because I have something to share with the audience, and that is we're going to be launching a food brand. So we haven't ironed everything out, haven't really created a whole lot around that, but we know we're going to be creating a food line. And what I'm going to do is use Barbells in Business as a way to capture business owners that are in the gym space, in the health and wellness space. I'm going to capture their attention by giving them valuable content. I'm not going to try to sell my products. I'm just going to have them know that I do sell these line of products, and I'm going to make offers for gym owners to get them into their facilities at a discounted price. And so my way in is with the gym owners. My way in with the gym owners is by giving them content that is relevant to their business and that they're going to use and make their gyms more successful. So by creating that connection so that they know, like, and trust me as the host of that show, they will then in turn want to turn to us when it comes to buying food products for their gym and for their members. So those are the podcast and the online stuff that I've done. Now I'm going to switch gears and really talk about how this can be actually brought down to your daily business in your small business. Because some of you are saying, well, I'm a mechanic, and there's no reason for me to create a podcast. There's no reason for me to create a YouTube channel. I am a mechanic, and I'll always be a mechanic. I love being a mechanic. So this is what I would say to the mechanic that is saying those things is, what do you charge right now per hour? And maybe they say it's $80 per hour in the shop. And what I truly believe is that content elevates you as the expert. You build authority. So if Mr. Mechanic went and started creating videos on how-tos on all the different fixes and repairs that he made, a lot of the reason why Mr. Mechanic would say he shouldn't do that is because he's going to think that all his customers are going to go do those services by themselves if he goes and makes a video on exactly how to do it. Now, what I would tell Mr. Mechanic is that most people don't have the tools to do that. Most people don't want to get dirty. Most people don't have the confidence to take apart an engine or take apart things on their car. And they're going to want a professional to do it. And who better than to hire than the person that taught them, gave them information. They were able to see inside the facility, see you, Mr. Mechanic, working, and begin to build a relationship with you via the internet, via that video. They are going to come to you. They're going to beat down a door to your address because they've seen how transparent you are. They've seen inside of your shop. They've seen how much of an authority you are in the industry, and how you have created a lot of trust with them by being open, showing them your facility, showing them a car, working them right through the process, making it very clear as to what you're going to do on their on their car. And so I just truly believe that at that $80 an hour will go up to $100 an hour, because you're going to get so many more people coming in the door, and you'll be able to raise your prices. And better yet, you're going to starting to get people from a wider demographic, a larger area, surrounding area around your business, coming to your mechanic shop because they saw your videos and they want to make sure you do it, because they can't trust another mechanic. They've had a bad experience with another mechanic, but you have built a trusting relationship. You've given them value. You've given them content and education. You've informed them, and you've become the authority in the mechanic space, and they're going to want to come to you. And when they start coming in droves, you can raise your prices. All right. So number one thing, why create content, is you build authority. Another thing, number two, would be really that you really do make your employees and your staff accountable to a different level of expertise. So when it comes to, for instance, Mr. Mechanic, he has a video and he's making videos on how to change the oil and check for the tire pressure and do a radiator flush and changing out different fluids and all of these different things, or doing like a $100,000 mile inspection, what to do, how to do it, walk someone right through the process of what they should be doing. During that video, the customer, the person watching the video, is viewing someone that is doing the services that they need. All right. No one's going to watch a video on a 100,000 mile inspection for their car if they do not need a 100,000 mile inspection on their car. But when they're watching that video, they are also seeing your facilities, your employees, the way you're organized, the way your staff interacts, and it holds your staff, your employees, to a different level of accountability and professionalism, knowing that they are on camera. They're being watched, they're being viewed, other people are watching the way they're acting, the way that they're doing their job, and all of a sudden they are on stage. They are on stage, and they are no longer look at themselves as just working a job, but they are now on stage for everyone else to behold and see what they are doing. Maybe you're creating content like I do around landscaping for other landscapers, and so the people within the organization begin to realize, oh, okay, I'm on camera. I am in front of other landscapers that are going to match our level of professionalism, or they're going to compare themselves to us, and I want to set a high standard. And so now you make your employees actually step it up, because you're creating content around your brand, or you're creating content around your industry, around what you do, how you do it, and you're giving away great advice. So number one, you're going to build authority. That is why you should create content. Number two, for your employees and your staff members, the level of accountability they are going to have, because now they are on stage, is going to change your business. Number three, you're going to build an audience. So why should you create content? You're going to build an audience, all right? So this can be local. If you are a mechanic shop, you are going to want to have a local audience, and you are going to want to make sure people are coming into your mechanic shop. If that's something you love to do and you don't want to change and deviate from that, you're going to focus on getting your content out locally. All right. So you're going to be trying to build an audience. Now, you can also build an audience, nationally, or wherever, with the internet, it's just expansible. And so this is the thing, even if you're going to try to create an audience locally, it's online, you're going to start creating an audience in a larger demographic around the entire country, around the world, whatever it is, because the internet scales and just it goes everywhere, right? And so you're able to start building this audience that will lead to number four. And that is, you begin to make it a profitable revenue stream in and of itself. So what I mean by that is, at first, Mr. Mechanic might make those videos simply to get people in the door, and he's able to show them how-tos and all the things about their car and what it can do, right? However, eventually the videos themselves can actually become a revenue stream. What happens? Goodyear Tires wants to make sure that their tires are promoted within the videos. Or perhaps another manufacturer of vehicles, instead of having a random customer vehicles, Toyota comes along and says, hey, you know what? We'd really like for our Prius to be the vehicle that you show the tire pressure video on. And they're willing to pay you for that. And all of a sudden, the videos, the content, the thing that you thought were going to become the supporting cast in the revenue structure of your business has now become an actual revenue stream in which you actually make a bunch of profit, because you're going to make that content no matter what. I was going to make Business Bootcamp podcast no matter what, but then along came sponsors. I was going to share content with landscapers no matter what, but then came along this idea that I could share more intimate details if I gave it exclusive access, and I could govern who sees the information. That became a revenue stream, an actual stream of revenue that I'm able to take that money, invest it back into the business, and take it and actually build make a video series, write a book, put on a conference. We're building out a training facility using the money from this new revenue stream that we created content around. All right. So another reason you should be creating content, number 5, is to be different than your competitors. Very few of your competitors are creating content in the form of blogs, podcasts, and videos. And so you're going to be able to become a differentiator by you're going to create the what's completely different about you and your competitors. The thing that differentiates you can become the content. It is the thing that will separate you. It'll be the thing that allows you to be so transparent and create a connection with the customers that your competitors cannot do without giving and creating content. That's number 5. It's going to make you different than competitors. The 6th reason, and this is really the reason why a lot of people actually get into content, but it is, I believe, a side benefit because it happens if you do great content, and that is you are able to market your services and products, all right? And so I want to wrap this all up by telling you what we're doing with Augusta Lawn Care Services, my landscaping company, and Pro Labor Services, my handyman services company. What we are going to be doing is we are going to create content in a local fashion. What are we going to do? And I, by all means, would love if you stole this idea and made it your own. What we're going to do is we are going to take this platform, Business Bootcamp Podcast, and I'm going to go interview 10 to 12 of the local business owners in our area that have iconic brands. So brands that most people in our county are going to recognize, they associate with, they've been to, and they have visited. And I'm going to go talk to these people and interview them on business, on how they started their company, the trials and tribulations they've gone through, all the evolution of their company, how they've grown, how they've scaled, how they've hired people, how they've gone from generation to generation. I am going to interview these entrepreneurs and small business owners in our county, local. Because so many of you out there are saying that content doesn't matter because it's all online and you have a very small demographic and you only serve people within a mile of your shop or whatever. And so I'd highly encourage you to still make content. So we're gonna interview these people. I'm going to then take those interviews and make them into a book. It's going to be an easy to read book, and it's going to be called Local Leaders. And it's going to be basically a written form version of these 10 interviews that we will create around these local leaders in the business community. Then what we're going to do, and once it's been created in a text form, I'm going to go to a bank, a local bank that's nonprofit, that is community invested in the community, is a local credit union, and I am going to ask them for a sponsorship. And they're going to get their logo on the back of the book. But more importantly, it's that money is going to give me the opportunity to print books. And I'm going to explain to them, look, you're sponsoring this. 100% of what you're sponsoring is going directly to the printing of these books. And I want to print off several thousand of them and give them to the local business owners within our community. I'm not making money. It's a nonprofit thing that we're doing. However, the content that we are going to create will be a marketing method in which we will reach our target audience. Because guess who our target audience is? It's people that have businesses, that are busy, that are interested in their community, and those are where the books are. Those are the hands the books are going to reach. And so that's our objective. That is our plan for 2019. Really, the main driver of our marketing for my landscaping business is going to be around this idea of content. It's worked for the podcast and the course and the video stuff that I've done online, and now the training facility. It's worked for all of those things. I know it will work for this too. And if you have a business and you are trying to make more money, or you are trying to get more people in the door, and you're tired of spending a bunch of money on Facebook, or spending a bunch of money on ads or print marketing, I highly encourage you to make content. Create content, and if you're doing it on a platform like YouTube, do not expect people to start beating down the doors after 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. It might take years and years, 5, 10 years for you to create enough of an audience, create enough content, create enough of a web of information for it to actually start to affect your business. But I promise you, it's something that is going to give back to you in perpetuity. You don't have to pay for content over and over and over. Once you've created it, it will continually pump out leads and give your business valuable customers without you having to pump more money into it. All right, so that's what we're doing with my landscaping company. And you might be out there, you might be saying, hey, I don't have a business, and why is this content thing important to me? This is why it's important. If you are working a job you currently do not like, or maybe you like the industry, but just not working for the employer that you currently are working for, this is what you should be doing. You should be creating content around the thing you're passionate about. For example, if you love singing, if the singing and vocals are your passion, but yet you are a contractor and you hate being outside and you hate working hard, and it's just something you would much rather just be singing all day long, and you love singing, you love all about music, you love it all. What I would encourage you to do is work at your job as a contractor, but in the evenings and on the weekends, create content around the thing you're passionate about. Create content about vocals. Create content analyzing different vocalists and their songs and the music behind them. Record your own songs and your own music and your own vocals, and begin to create an audience around you being an expert in vocals. Maybe you're just documenting the things that you're doing and getting people's reactions and getting better at your craft. Or maybe you actually begin to dole out advice or help other people that are in the vocals area that are also trying to start becoming a better singer or music writer. And so you begin to get involved with this community, building this audience, and all of a sudden people start asking you if you can train them when it comes to vocals, and they want vocal lessons. And all of a sudden they're willing to pay whatever you want in order to get in front of you and for you to teach them. Why? Not because you're the cheapest, not because you're the closest. Maybe they have to travel a lot further. Maybe they have to come from across the country. But the reason they'll come is because you have built a meaningful connection and a relationship with a customer that is willing to do and pay whatever is necessary to make sure you are the person that gives them one-on-one access to the information they want. When you begin to develop an audience and build this brand around your business when it comes to providing content, you are going to have people that are willing to pay for direct access to you. All right, so that's why I create a membership group and I have a course and all these things. People are willing to pay for the access to me and the information that I have. And I give out as much information as I can for free, but I can't talk one-on-one. I can't do webinars with every single one of the listeners of the podcast, every single one of the listeners of the course and things like that. I can't do that. So what I do is I allow people to pay to get access to me. How do you do that? You create content, you build relationships, and then they will come to you. All right. Some people get the cart in front of the horse. They start trying to create products and services around access before people even want access to them. And it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. It comes off really bad to the consumer, I feel, when you start to do that. So anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent, but I wanted to really impress you all that my number one marketing tip, the one thing I would do if I was you, if you have not done it already, make a blog, make a podcast, make a video, do something. Like if you don't like people seeing your face and you're going to be self-conscious, you do a podcast. No one sees your face. Or do blog if you love writing and you love text, you love books and you like hard copy, like you like the tangible paper, like go write a book. Communicate in the fashion that you feel most comfortable, but at the end of the day, you have to create content. Create content around your industry, around what you're passionate about, and I promise you it will Maybe it's years down the road, but it will return dividends. And I promise you too, if you really love it and if you're really passionate about it, it doesn't seem like work. I would do what I do with the course and with the podcast, with or without the money, because I'm passionate about the purpose I have of helping small business owners. And so if you have a passion like that, you have something you love, maybe it is to do with your business, maybe it is to do with the industry you're in, but regardless of what it is, make sure it's something that you can wake up every day wanting to do 24/7, 365 on the weekends, in the evenings, and I promise you, it will lead to success that you never saw around the corner. You've been listening to Mike Andes on the Business Bootcamp podcast, and remember my one tip for this year in your marketing scheme, in your marketing matrix, in your marketing strategy is 2 words: create content.